Hello guys, good evening once again. My name is Shamsuddin Isifuala. I'm in software engineering level 100. So today we are continuing with programming with C++ and the topic is expressions and statements. I remember saying earlier that C++ is a language built on expressions and statements only, or not expressions and statements only, but it's made up mostly of expressions and statements. So what when we say we have different types of statements. One of the types of statements is the iterative statements, known as loops. So these iterative statements are also known as loops. They are used to execute parts of code repeatedly based on a condition or set of conditions. They are also used to perform repetitive tasks efficiently here. Example of these iterative statements are the for loop, the while loop, and the do while loop. So we are going to be looking into these loops and then checking when it's more necessary to use them and why they are necessary to be used in the first place. So without wasting much time, take on the for loop. So the for statements are used to iterate over a range of values or elements in a collection. So it means the for statement is used for a range of values within a collection. The syntax for the for loop is you bring the for keyword, then you open your parenthesis. Then in that parenthesis, you state your initial statement, then you bring the termination, then you state the loop condition, then you bring the termination, then you state the update statement, then you close your parenthesis. Then now you open your curly braces. When you open your curly braces, then you put the statement in the curly braces and then you terminate it. So let's take a look at how this works. Let's we already have the skeleton here already, so let's just fix everything together and find our way through. So we will need the for statement. We will need the for statement. So let's say we have an example, right? So the for loop executes. This is the execution system of the for loop. So the for loop executes as follows. The initial statement executes. That's one. Then two, the loop condition is evaluated. If the loop condition evaluates to true, execute the for loop statement or execute the update statement. Then three, repeat step 2 until the loop condition evaluates to false. So it means it will keep on repeating the process until the condition evaluates to false. So let's see how we can make something like that happen. So without wasting much time, let's just get to the practical aspect of it. So let's say we have a for statement. So let's create a for statement. Then we bring the int. We are using an integer character over here. Then we bring our assignment operator. Then we terminate it. Then we bring the I again. Then we bring our less than sign. Then we bring 10. Then we terminate it. Then we bring I again. Then we bring the post increment sign. So after this, just like I explained earlier, we have in writing the for loop, we have the for keyword itself. After which we have the initial statement, which is this. This will now be the initial statement. Then after which we have the loop condition. So this is the loop condition. This is the loop condition. So after this loop condition, we also have the update statement. So this statement will keep on updating the loop until it meets the requirement. So after all this, then we will now bring the curly braces and then we'll state the condition, or we'll bring the statement that will finalize everything. So let's say cout bring our end line, then we terminate it. So in this case, it means keep rotating so long as I is less than 10. Keep repeating till I is becomes the same as 10. So let's run this and see what will happen. Exactly, exactly. So the thing is, at this point, I is equal to 0. And then, so that the I is equal to 0, that's our initial statement, right? And the loop condition is I should not exceed 10. It means I should be less than 10. And then after that, we have the update condition. So this is the update statement is what keeps the instruction in the loop. So the update statement will that now be adding more values to the I equals 0 till I equals 0 is less than 9. The statement, the 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 loop condition says less I is less than 10. It means I cannot exceed 10. So when I gets to 9, it terminates the loop because at that point that's the closest I can be to less than 10. So that's what we have for the four statements. We can also say, so after that, we now have the while loop. We have the while loop. We have the while loop. So in the while loop executes as long as spe- specifies conditions evaluation true. So for the while loop, a while statement executes its control statement until its condition becomes false. So they are saying that a while statement will continue to loop the, the instruction until its conditions become false. So the syntax for the while loop is you bring the while keyword, then you open your parentheses, then you bring your expression. After the expression, you close the parentheses, then you open the curly braces, then you put your statement in the curly braces, then you close the curly braces. That's how the while loop works. So let's take an example for what a while loop is. We also say that infinite loops. These are loops that continue to execute endlessly. Infinite loops are loops that continue to execute endlessly. And while loop can be used to create such loops. While statements can be used to create such loops. So an example of how the while loop functions is, let's say we have int int a equals 0, and we terminate it. And we come down and be like while, the while keyword, bring your parentheses, then you put your expression in the parentheses. As I said earlier, you put your expression in the parentheses. So what's our expression? Our expression is a is less than a is less than our expression is a is less than 10. Let's say a is less than 10. So after this, then we bring our curly braces, then we put our statement in the curly brace. So we say see out, then we bring I, then we bring the end line, then we terminate this. So we say in the integral variable is equal to 0, while a is less than 10. So it means so long as a is less than 10, lists down all the values of a that are less than 10. So when we run, this is the old code. So let's run the new code and see what will happen. You're having a problem here. Okay, okay. Instead of using a, we use I use I. I'm sorry. So let me change that real quick. Okay, then let's run it again now. So this, as the infinite loop that I was talking about, this is the infinite loop. It goes on forever and ever and ever. It never stops. You scroll to, as you can see, my scroll bar here. This is it. I can keep dragging till the last is still zero, nothing. It just continues till infinity. That's what we call an endless loop. That's what we call an endless loop. But there is a way to make sure that this actual might, let's try something. Let's try something. Okay, so our variable is a problem here. Okay, okay. So the first one, because we didn't bring the increment sign, we made it an endless loop. So now that we've got the increment sign, it has given it a reason to what, increase the value gradually till it reaches the point where it cannot exceed 10. So that's how we get the same result as the previous result. Finally, we have the last of the iterative loops, which is the do while loop. Yeah, which is the do while loop. So as for the do while loop, a do while statement is similar to a while statement, except that the condition comes after the body. So for the do while statement, the condition comes after the body. The condition comes only after the body. So the syntax for a do while loop is, you start by bringing the do keyword, then open your curly braces. So when you open your curly braces, then you put your statement in the curly braces. After the statement, you close the curly braces, then you bring your while keyword, then the the you open the parenthesis, then you put your expression in the parenthesis before you terminate it. That's why in the explanation you say the do while statement is similar to the while statement, except that the condition comes after the body. So in this case, the expression is the condition. It comes after the statement, which is the body. So I would like us to see how the do while loop also functions. So let's take a look at how the do while loop functions. So for the do while loop, we can start by declaring our integral value. Let's say int x equals 0. Then we terminate that. Then we say the last line. So over here we bring our do keyword. This is where our do keyword comes in. Do. Then after the do keyword, you open your curly braces. Then you put your statement. out see out x, then we bring our end line, then we terminate it. Then we move to the next line, then we bring the increment, then we bring the increment, then we terminate that. After bringing the we bring come out, then we bring our while, then we bring the curly braces, we bring the parentheses. So in the parentheses, that's where we put our expression now. So our expression is that I or my variable x is than 10. That's the expression. Then we terminate this also. So after terminating this, then we'll run this code and see what the result will be. As you can see, the result has been like the for loop in the while loop, and the results are all output the same thing. So the thing is, it depends on how you structure your program that it will be able to give you what you want. So there are different ways to gain the same thing in programming. It's just that everyone has their own way of doing it to feel confident enough to be able to output it. So this is three different ways you can do the same thing. But it's easier to say the for loop is simpler to the while loop. It's easier to make mistakes. So we have something we also call exiting from loop. So exiting from loop is if the condition of an iteration statement, let's say a for loop, a while loop, or a do while statement is omitted, the loop will not terminate unless the user explicitly exits it by a break, return, go to, throw, or some less obvious ways such as call opposite. I remember talking about a break in my previous video. So a break breaks out of the nearest and closing switch state. So exiting from loops. The break statement is used for two purposes. That's to exit early from a loop or to skip the remainder of the switch structure. Sometimes we don't so it we say sometimes you don't want the end of the loop. But so it means sometimes it's not like you want to exit from the loop, you just want to see the final value of the loop. So you use a continuous skips. So you use the continue to skip the rest of the body of an iteration statement. Let's say it's supposed to output 1 to 300. You can't wait and scroll to 300. So you use the continue to skip those between 1 and 299 to get to the final one, which is 300. Then we have the nested loops. So the nested loops is a nested loop just like the nested if. It's a loop embedded in the first loop. So let's see an example of what the loop looks like. So let's take a look at what a nested loop looks like. So this is an example of a nested loop. Let's see int I and j, meaning they are all same integer values. So we do multiple declaration. So for then when you bring your for, then bring your parenthesis, then I equals 1, terminate. Then I is less than or equals, then we terminate that, then we bring I plus So this is the expression. So after our expression, we open our curly braces and then we bring our statements now. But since we are dealing with the nested if, nested, we are dealing with the nested loops. Since we are dealing with the nested loops, the statement doesn't come yet, or the body doesn't come yet. We bring another for inside this for loop. So we create another loop within this one. We go for then you open your curly braces again. J equals 1, then you terminate. Then you say j is less than or equal to I. Then you terminate this. Then you bring the j increment operator. After this, after this, you go to the next line. Then you output whatever will happen here. So you output this. Then you bring this. Then you bring your asterisk. Then output again. You bring this. Then you end the line. Let's run this and see what this will give us. You're seeing we have an error. So we should have terminated something before we go to see out. So over here, terminate. Terminate here too. Let's run this again. We'll have to terminate here too. Let's terminate this. Okay. So let's run the code now and see what will happen. So the nested loop has recurred the asterisk that was replaced in the cout. What condition of the according to the expression of the two for loops that came before the output. So nested loop is just like the combination of the embedment of a loop within another loop to form a web of loops. That's what the nested loops do, mostly speaks about. So since we have looked at loops and statements, today I would like to take out the comments so that I can output everything in order to see whether they will all okay. Okay. So let's run the code to see whether we'll get an error. So at this point, the first thing we did, which was the for loop that executed from 0 to 9 for us. This is it. And then we did the while loop, which is this one. This one. This is the while loop. That also executed from 0 to 9 for us. This is it. And then after the while loop, we took to the do while loop. After the while loop, we focused on the do while loop. The do while loop. Okay. Okay, this is the do while loop. So the do while loop, in the do while loop, this is the do while loop. So the do while loop is what outputted this 0 to 9 for us over here as well. Same like just like the previous one. And then finally we did a nested loop where the loop is embedded in another loop, and that was what outputted the asterisk for us in the recursive manner. Thank you for being with me.